I say both. Go both, Johan. Two classic cocktails, both utilizing whiskey of some sort and Dom Benedictine. What's Dom Benedictine, Johan? I'm so happy you asked, and I'll tell you all about it later on in the video. But for right now, I'm just gonna leave you with let's make the Bobby Burns and Monte Carlo. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Johan and I make super serious cocktail videos with cocktail recipes, bartending hacks, and a little bit of cocktail history thrown in the mix. See what I did there? Thrown in the mix? You mix cocktails? What a lot of people like to know is how do I remember cocktail recipes? The thing is, a lot of classic cocktails are just variations of one another. Take the Bobby Burns for example. Most of us know what a Manhattan is. American whiskey, I would say rye, sweet vermouth, and bitters. Then you have another classic cocktail called the Rob Roy. A Rob Roy is the same as a Manhattan, but instead of using American whiskey, you use Scotch, which is whiskey from Scotland. And then you have the Bobby Burns. A Bobby Burns is basically a Rob Roy, but with the addition of Dom Benedictine. So there you have it, three very similar cocktails. Pretty easy to remember. Alright, so for the Bobby Burns, I'll be using Johnny Walker Black for my Scotch, but you can use whatever Scotch you like. If you want to do a single malt, I even thought about using Mac 12 just for the hell of it, but use whatever Scotch you like. And a sweet vermouth, I'm using Coca di Torino, and Dom Benedictine. I will also add a couple of dashes of Angostura in mine, because I know I like that. Dom Benedictine is an herbaceous French liqueur supposedly made the same way today as it was back in 1510 by Benedictine monks. Like many of these old liqueurs, the recipe is a well-kept secret, but what we do know and what they do give away on their website is that it contains some 27 herbs and spices, one of which is saffron. However, something I recently found out, according to liquor.com, this whole made by monks was apparently just a marketing scheme, and from what I understand, there's really no evidence for it. Either way, this liqueur is old and has been around since the 1800s, I believe. But if the original was actually made by monks, I don't know. For the Monte Carlo, which to me is kind of like an old-fashioned variation, you only need rye whiskey, Dom Benedictine, and a couple of dashes of Angostura bitters. That's it. So the Monte Carlo, I'm just gonna build right into the glass because it's gonna be served over one big rock. I'm gonna start with a couple of dashes of Angostura bitters. And since I'm using one of these bottles, I've mentioned this before, whatever I do twice as many as I would with a regular Angostura bottle. Half an ounce of Dom Benedictine. And 2 ounces of rye whiskey. Give it just a couple of stirs. This cocktail you don't have to stir for that long because you'll keep the ice in there and it'll keep it cool and it'll keep diluting. For the Bobby Burns, I'm going to start with a couple of dashes of Angostura bitters. 1/4 ounce of Dom Benedictine. 3/4 ounce of sweet vermouth. And 2 ounces of your Scotch. The Bobby Burns can be found in this book, the Savoy Cocktail Book from 1930. But there's also a recipe from 1902, but there it's called the Baby Burns. Very cute. The name Bobby Burns most likely refers to the famous Scottish poet Robert Burns. Okay, so here's my take on it. The Bobby Burns is a little bit smoky because of the Scotch that I'm using. It's herbaceous, but in a very subtle way. And then it also has hints of honey, which I believe is from the Dom Benedictine. So it's a little bit sweeter than a regular Rob Roy. When it comes to the Monte Carlo, it's like a jazzed up, slightly spicy old-fashioned. And when I say spice, that comes from the rye whiskey because it's a little spicier than bourbon. The Monte Carlo is actually what I make for a lot of guests when they ask me for something like an old-fashioned. I hope you learned something today. I try to keep it short because I don't want to waste your time, and honestly, I don't want to be here all day either. So I'll see you next time, friends. Bing, bada boom. To this famous Scottish poet, Robert De Niro. Nailed it.